Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP holders appalled as SEC fails to charge SBF for selling an unregistered security. So there's a lot to talk about in this latest Moon Family Sedan room temperature jam. In case you hadn't heard, last night, SBF was indeed arrested. He was in court today, and he was ultimately denied bail. And I'm going to share with you some of the specifics, but it is very interesting the way that the SEC has approached the charges against SBF compared to their accusations against, good-meaning and legitimate firms like Ripple, for example, and how they ultimately resulted in all the charges against them resulted in an actual attack on XRP holders. So there's that too. But here at the outset of the video, let me share with you a fun little fact about Sam Bankman-Fried that I don't think many people knew. When SBF was born, he was born as a dingleberry. Once he went through puberty, he became a butt nugget, and he has since grown out a fro. Just a fun little fact to kick things off here in this latest room temperature jam on the Moon Family Sedan channel that used to be the Moon Lambo channel to this little butt nugget with a fro changed things. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby. And just for fun, damn it. In we go to this first piece. XRP holders have taken to Twitter to criticize the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for failing to classify FTT as an unregistered security in its charges against Sam Bankman-Fried today. And I'll pause to note, I'm sure the vast majority are aware, but just in case, FTT is the cryptocurrency of failed and bankrupt fraud cryptocurrency exchange FTX, just like Binance has their Binance coin. And the SEC here didn't claim that it was an unregistered security, which is kind of curious. It's totally legit that the people within the XRP community are like, Tifa, like, if you think back to even the Wahi case, remember the SEC v. Wahi case, where there were claims of insider trading, which it sounds like those are actually true. There's that Coinbase insider, and then there was I can't remember if it was like a relative or somebody else. There were like two other people that jumped on board the insider trading bandwagon. Well, maybe those are legitimate charges, but in the filing against those individuals in the Wahi case, the SEC stated that 9 cryptocurrencies are unregistered securities. So you've got that. Then you've got the claims that the library credit, LBC, unregistered security, XRP, unregistered security, all these charges from the SEC. But then you have this outright fraud, this outright scamster, Sam Bankman-Fried running FTX for years, and his FTT token is not labeled as an unregistered security. Fair to ask. And we'll get to that, but let me go a little bit further in this article, and I'll get to you some rationale on that, which comes from Eleanor Terrett, who is a Fox Business journalist covering the case. Anyway, piece reads as follows. The SEC complaint describes FTT as a token or crypto asset. It bears mentioning that the SEC, following the announcement of the arrest of SBF in the Bahamas yesterday, at the behest of the U.S. Department of Justice, disclosed that it would also be filing charges against a disgraced crypto founder. In the complaint filed today, the SEC accuses SBF of defrauding investors in a years-long scheme from May 2019 that saw him divert billions in customer funds for his benefit and to expand his crypto empire. Per the complaint, the SEC claims that the SBF managed to raise over $1.8 billion from investors, $1.1 billion of which came from 90 U.S. investors, with false representations of FTX's operations and its relationship with Alameda Research, its sister firm. Now, here's what Fred Rispoli, attorney and member of the XRP community, had to say. He wrote, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but SEC did not even attempt to define which cryptos were securities, instead just alleging SBF violated the Securities Act, re crypto asset securities. This is a back burner to criminal case, but first thing I do is move to dismiss. Here's what Eleanor Turret of Fox Business had to say about this. She shared the Crypto Basic article, and I just touched on part of that with you a moment ago. She shared that article about XRP holders being appalled, as it's titled, and then she said, "A point I was about to make. Yes, it seemed odd to me that the SEC did not throw in a offering unregistered securities charge on top of it all, especially when they used it in the Coinbase insider trading case and the Kim Kardashian suit. However, brilliant legal mind J.W. Verrett tells me it would be inconsistent with the Department of Justice not wanting to complicate the case with issues about the definition of a security and instead go for the easier wire fraud." So there you go. That's the explanation that's given. And actually, to me, it sounds fair enough as an explanation. I know a lot of people, and understandably so, they're like, wait a minute. What's with the disparate treatment compared to a bunch of good faith actors in the space versus scamster SBF, who gave a lot of money to individuals in the federal government, let's say? What's with the disparity in treatment? Well, if this is true, and I do trust J.W. Verrett. He's just a sharp individual who, by the way, is heavily critical of Gary Gensler. He worked with him in person for a long time. He was on whatever I think it's like the SEC Advisory Committee, whatever the name of it was. J.W. Verrett was on that and heavily critical during that time of Gary Gensler. And he's saying, no, this is actually normal. So I tend to just want to take that at face value. To me, that just makes sense. So yes, when we see the way people getting treated differently, it just goes back to the whole thing. XRP is treated different than ETH. Of course, understandably, we have that visceral reaction. But in this particular case, I suspect that everything's on the up and up. At least so far as I know to this point, it seems to make sense. Now let's take a look at this from CoinDesk. Inside Sam Bankman-Fried's first Bahamas court hearing after his arrest. And folks, some of this is a little bit weird, but I want to run through it because it's so damn interesting. So check this out from CoinDesk. And this is in the Bahamas, Nassau. Former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried told a Bahamas judge on Tuesday that he was not waiving his right to fight extradition to the U.S. So just pause. Sam Bankman-Fried does not want to end up in the U.S., it seems. It seems as though he's going to fight it. And I actually did see something that on Twitter asserting more strongly that, no, he's actually going to fight this. I don't know for sure if that's accurate. I didn't have time to double check that. I've been very busy today, but I did get caught up to speed sufficiently, I think. I just don't know literally every single detail, but it seems to be the case that he's going to try to not end up in the United States. At a minimum, this is an indication he clearly wants to keep that option open, but I have my suspicions. Just say anyway. Piece continues. The former titan of industry appeared in a Nassau, Bahamas courtroom on Tuesday morning to face an extradition order from the United States on federal charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and other allegations. Bankman-Fried was arrested in Nassau on Monday evening after a magistrate judge signed an emergency warrant for his arrest at the request of prosecutors with the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York. So I'll pause to say, this is music to my ears. I tweeted out as much earlier today. But damn, why did it take over a month? Holy freaking hell. You did not see this delay when it came to the Enron case a couple decades or so ago. So it is what it is. Piece continues. He arrived to the courthouse at approximately 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time wearing a blue suit. Bankman-Fried was not handcuffed as he sat alone in the front row of the court, directly facing Magistrate Judge Joy Ann Ferguson Pratt, who signed the warrant for his arrest Monday. Before the proceedings could begin, Bankman-Fried's attorney asked the judge for permission to allow his client to take a prescription medication. And I'll pause. This is where part of it gets a little unorthodox, let's say. Just a little bit, because Sam Bankman-Fried seemed to want to take his shirt off in the courtroom. That's not a joke. Piece continues. Bankman-Fried told the judge that the medication was in his possession. Wait, did I read that last sentence? Let me double check. Before the proceedings could begin, Bankman-Fried's attorney asked the judge for permission to allow his client to take a prescription medication. Okay. Bankman-Fried told the judge that the medication was in his possession when he was arrested, but he had not had access to it since Monday. A police officer brought a Ziploc bag of Bankman-Fried's belongings into the court, which contained his medication, and the judge asked if he needed water to take it. And he said, quote, I don't need water, but I do need to take my shirt off to take them. So that's what Sam Bankman-Fried said to the judge. And then the CoinDesk piece says, Sam Bankman-Fried is known to take Insum patches as an antidepressant, and that's what told the court. Well, you certainly can't take your shirt off in court, the judge said before allowing him to leave the room for several minutes to take his medication. Bankman-Fried, who was characteristically jittery before taking his medication, was no longer jittery upon his return to court. Bankman-Fried's parents, Joe Bankman and Barbara Fried, were seated in the third row behind members of the press. They appeared to oscillate between dejection and defiance, at times holding their heads in their hands and clasping their hands. Bankman-Fried's mother audibly laughed several times when her son was referred to as a fugitive. Yeah, that's freaking hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious, lady. Your son's a fugitive. I'm sure it was a snarky type of laugh, right? And his father occasionally put his fingers in his ears as if to drown out the sound of the proceedings. Totally normal behavior all around, right, folks? Jesus. And then there's this from Eleanor Turt, Fox Business Journalist. She says, SBF request for bail has been denied as the judge believes him to be a flight risk. He will be sent to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until February 8th. Holidays behind bars. Now, folks, that is fantastic. Our little dingleberry's all grown up, and now he's going to be in adult prison as a butt nugget with a fro. Who doesn't like that? That's a happy ending right there. Folks, so we'll keep following this stuff here. But my gosh, he did his damnedest to destroy crypto, right? You know, it's not that he was even trying to destroy crypto. He's just such a terrible excuse of a human. He's just human debris. That's effectively what was, on the table. I mean, I don't think that crypto is ever going to collapse, but that's the direction that things were heading anyway, as a result of his nonsense actions and complete outright scammery. I wonder if Kevin O'Leary is ever going to retract that. Oh yeah, if Sam Bankman-Fried ever had another crypto business idea, I'd give him money. Do you think he'll ever retract that? I'm not optimistic, folks. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.